something else. He is my guy, Max Kellerman. How we feeling? How we living?
How do?
Fellas.
How do? How y'all do?
That's why you're in such a good
How
mood
y'all
today.
doing?
How did I not put two and two together?
Yeah, something like that, something like that. How y'all doing?
Let's get it
how was
started.
your, did you have a wonderful weekend?
Not as
good as
No,
yours.
I know I did. I just want to say for the record, I had a marvelous week.
The Giants, by the way, our Giants, one game out of first.
Yes. Let's roll. Let's
All right.
roll.
How about them Saints, everybody? Staving off the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football without Drew Bress, without even scoring a touchdown. On top of that, they held Ezekiel Elliott to just 35 rush yards in a rush TD. Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
Please tell me, why did the Cowboys lose this game?
Oh, well, first of all, there's a lot of reasons that go into it. I just want to make sure that we understand that. I mean, after all, when you got your star running back that's close to $100 million, $50 million in guarantees, by the way, and he averages less than 2 yards a carry, something's wrong with that picture. I just think it's important to point that out. The other thing is that you got a guy like Dak Prescott obviously looking to make major dollars, and when the running back is not running the ball effectively, particularly when you sit around and you look at him and you say, hey, this is the reason why Dak Prescott was successful to begin with, and then we walk into this season and the first 3 games against subpar competition, what happens is Dak Prescott airs it out, looks great, and obviously everybody's talking about him as an MVP candidate. And then the second you go up against a relatively respectable team with a respectable defense that neutralizes the running game, and you got an opportunity to turn it around and air it out, a.k.a. Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator, Jason Garrett, your head coach with Dak Prescott, and you fail to do so, it's a problem. Now, we all know, in all seriousness, that Dak Prescott can ball, but last night was just, it wasn't impressive. He missed a lot of throws. He had a couple of nice throws, but at the end of the day, he wasn't as impressive. 22 of 33, 223 yards. That's a relatively pedestrian performance. The Saints defense showed up. They pressured him. I particularly love how they went at him near the tail end of the game. Obviously, when Teddy Bridgewater foolishly took that sack for a 16-yard loss, forcing the Saints to punt as opposed to kicking the field goal to really seal the deal. The Dallas Cowboys had a last chance, but Dak Prescott got sacked on first down. And then from that point forward, the blitzes that was called to take the ball out of his hands, not to let him wind up and throw Hail Marys or whatever. I got to give the Saints a lot of credit for that. But in the end, what it comes down to is this. Ezekiel Elliott wasn't impressive. As a result, it seemed to have a contagious effect. Dak Prescott wasn't impressive. The defense showed up and handled their business. They kept the Saints out of the end zone all evening long. You got to give credit where credit is due in that regard. But in the end, when we look at the Dallas Cowboys, we expected them to be potent offensively, at least potent enough. All you needed was a couple of touchdowns. You'd have won this game. They couldn't do it because Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, really Ezekiel Elliott first, and then Dak Prescott couldn't get it going. And we see once again what the Achilles heel is. If you neutralize Ezekiel Elliott, then obviously, potentially, you can neutralize Dak Prescott. That's at least what we saw last night.
The reason the Cowboys lost this game is the New Orleans Saints. That's why they lost the game. And as you would say, and you, who have been so critical of the Saints front office in recent years, until about maybe last year, you started laying off a little bit, talking about they need to get Drew Bress a defense, and they're over-reliant on Drew Bress.
I was right until last year.
Now it's time to give Mickey Loomis some credit, right?
Finally.
Like, let's give him credit now because, recall, he shows up in New Orleans, you turn around, they win the Super Bowl. Then Bountygate hits not long after, right? And Bountygate, to me, was always nonsense. The fact is, it's a full contact sport. You can incentivize your players to knock someone senseless as long as they do it within the rules. If you think that makes them a better team, I never agreed with the findings of Bountygate, with the philosophically what they had against the Saints in Bountygate. Nevertheless, that's what happened. Remember what happened? They got second-round picks taken away. You know what happens to most? Well, Belichick can do it. Let's leave Belichick out of this. Other than Belichick, any team that gets high draft picks in consecutive years taken away, they have to compensate. It may affect them in some way. For several years, we're now past that point. And by the way, they were good throughout. It's not like they were bad. Mickey Loomis has put together a team, both sides of the ball, Think about yesterday. Why couldn't Dallas get that passing game going? Part of it was not just that the run defense is stout for New Orleans, and that's why I liked them more than a lot of the other teams last year. A lot of the high-octane offenses last year couldn't stop the run. New Orleans could stop the run, but did you see Lattimore? They have a secondary. Everywhere you look, they have playmakers and high level of talent. Both sides of the ball, you got to give Loomis credit. Now, even Kamara, you know who Kamara, if memory serves, had the highest Wonderlic of all those running backs, right? He's a very cerebral player, not only lightning fast. And that's the point I really want to get to as to why the Saints. So I give Loomis the credit. Why have the Saints won? This is a team with character. This is a team with character. You could see when they go on the road and beat Seattle after Drew Bress goes down and then defend home against the Cowboys, who didn't allow a touchdown. That's a team with character. And one of the reasons, Stephen A., and then I'll give it right back to you, one of the reasons you have Teddy Bridgewater on your team is he's not a superstar. He'll never be a superstar. But he's a very good backup quarterback. He's just the kind of guy. Well, what happens if something happens to our superstar quarterback? You need a guy off the bench that can keep the ship steady. He's now 2-0. Seattle on the road and the Cowboys.
You know what? He doesn't deserve that 2-0 record. Not after taking that sack. That's a big deal that he took that sack.
Yeah, it was a bad sack.
An idiotic play on his part, and I like him, but an idiotic play on his part. You simply cannot allow that to happen. Give Michael Thomas credit as well for being the security blanket that he was. He was between the corners all night long. He was targeted 9 times, caught all 9 passes thrown his way. Give him credit. But in the end, the reason why I point to the Cowboys, this being about the Cowboys, is because if the Saints beat you, but they beat you 24-20 max or something along those lines, and it's obviously not some offensive shootout or whatever the case may be because Drew Bress is not there, but I get it. This is the reality of the situation, regardless of what we saw last year when the Dallas Cowboys defense shut them down pretty much in Big D. Dallas Cowboys defense showed up. The Dallas Cowboys defense is showing us that they're legit. You know why? Because they're consistent. Night in, night out, no matter the opponent, they're not getting run roughshod over themselves. The bottom line is this. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys, the question mark was about their offense. Scott Linehan's no longer the offensive coordinator. Now it's Kellen Moore. You're looking at Dak Prescott. This is a dude that's looking to be the highest paid quarterback in football. Russell Wilson's getting $35 million. Big Ben Roethlisberger's getting $34 million. Matt Ryan's getting $30 million, et cetera, et cetera. You know, Carson Wentz signs for $107 million in guarantees. Dak Prescott saying, whoa, what about me? And we were saying, yo, it's not fair what Jerry Jones is doing to them. I know I've been saying that because you need to take care of your quarterback and give him the money first. Maybe not make him the highest paid quarterback in football, but you need to give him the money first. So he goes out there last night, and Ezekiel Elliott can't get going to save his life. And Dak Prescott has no answer. You can point to New Orleans defense. I get that. But when you want the money, he's no question. But when you want money that he wants, these are the kind of games you got to show up.
We'll get into this a little bit later in the show. Right. Yeah, the Saints kept the Cowboys to a season-low 94 yards. Up next for the Cowboys, they're going to get the Packers. The Saints have those Bucks who dropped 55 yesterday on the Rams. We will have much more on that game. Wanted to say this off the top of the show. Happy Rosh Hashanah to those celebrating. Happy New Year, Max. A lot more to get to, guys, like this. The Browns run it up on the Ravens. So is the hype legit, or did the Ravens lay an egg at home? Do not miss that debate. Stephen A., with your southern self, what else you got?
Well, obviously, there's a lot more coming up on First Take as the show continues. Was yesterday evidence the Giants made the right call, taking Danny Dimes over Dwayne Haskins? Plus, is Cam Newton's starting job with the Carolina Panthers in serious jeopardy? And
something else. He is my guy, Max Kellerman. How we feeling? How we living?
How do?
Fellas.
How do? How y'all do?
That's why you're in such a good
mood
today.
Doing?
How did I not put 2 and 2 together?
Yeah, something like that. How y'all doing?
Let's get it started.
How was did you have a wonderful week?
Not as good as yours.
I know I did. I just want to say for the record, I had a marvelous week.
The Giants, by the way, our Giants, one game out of first.
Yes. Let's roll. Let's roll.
How about them Saints, everybody? Staving off the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football without Drew Bress, without even scoring a touchdown. On top of that, they held Ezekiel Elliott to just 35 rush yards in a rush TD. Stephen A. Smith. Yeah. Please tell me, why did the Cowboys lose this game?
Oh, well, first of all, there's a lot of reasons that go into it. I just want to make sure that we understand that. I mean, after all, when you got your star running back that's close to $100 million, $50 million in guarantees, by the way, and he averages less than 2 yards a carry, something's wrong with that picture. I just think it's important to point that out. The other thing is that you got a guy like Dak Prescott, obviously looking to make major dollars, and when the running back